Minutes past 8.
Now, its days are already numbered in Paris, Madrid, Athens and Mexico City. Some medical experts are calling for the diesel engine to be banned from the streets of London.
A group called Doctors Against Diesel says around 9,400 people in the capital die prematurely every year as a result of breathing in toxic fumes from engines.
Now, Jonathan Grigg is part of that group. He's a professor of paediatric respiratory and environmental medicine and joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
So you're part of this group that wants to call for an end to diesel vehicles. What difference, like quantifiable difference, would that make?
Okay, so diesel contributes quite significantly to gases in the capital and in other urban areas. So 40% of nitrogen dioxide is from diesel emissions. So that's the level we're talking about.
And what does that do to us?
Well, diesel particles and gases have a range of effects. They affect our lung, especially vulnerable kids. As they're growing, it suppresses their lung growth. It causes new onset asthma, so more cases of asthma. If you get asthma, it makes it worse. And later in life, as our lung function falls, it accelerates that decline, and it's associated with a range of cardiovascular problems. So effects across the whole life course. So long-term exposure are having long-term effects. And exposures in early life have a potential to have even significant effects going right into adult and
Tell us a little
life.
bit more about that speciality, because you work with children, respiratory issues particularly. I mean, can you give us some examples of the things that you're seeing or seeing more of that are directly linked to what we're talking about? Because this is soot, as I understand it, you know, in layman's language.
It's in our language too. It's very good. Appropriate description: diesel soot, tiny little particles, black soot, the same stuff that you'd see in chimneys and also in the back of the tailpipe. That's getting into your lungs. That's a proportion of staying down for a long time in your lungs and causing long-term effects. So I see in my clinic children with the severest type of asthma. We know in the UK our rates of asthma are much higher than the rest of Europe. And also our deaths from paediatric asthma are disproportionately much higher than the rest of Europe. A proportion of that is going to be attributable to air pollution. The evidence very clearly shows that air pollution causes new onset asthma, new cases, and also, as I say, makes asthma worse. So in my environment of the East End, the most polluted area of London, there's no doubt that is causing significant effects on children's health.
So you're asking for a ban on cars in cities?
So diesel engines, diesel vehicles.
So lorries, every vehicle?
Well, I mean, clearly in large vehicles we have an issue related to diesel, but certainly for cars and light trucks and vans and delivery vans, and taxis, which are contributing significantly to the emissions in London, we want that phased out as soon as possible. Now, if we are serious about air pollution, we need to be serious about diesel.
So I'll go back to my original question. How much would air pollution be reduced? How quantifiable? How can we get a quantifiable amount, a quantifiable difference?
It's a very good question, because the modelers really haven't done those models until recently, but the King's College, which are experts in modelling, have shown that if we reduce our diesel fleet from the current state to 5% of what it was, we would meet all of the EU guidelines, so we wouldn't be exceeding any of the levels for nitrogen dioxide and particles. So that's the level of effect that we can achieve.
There is another way of achieving no diesels in cities, and that would be not to sell diesel cars.
Yes, I mean, I think...
I mean, are we reaching that? If you're saying they are emitting bad things, what's the logic in having them at all?
Well, they're more cost efficient apparently for the driver. I don't drive a diesel car, I would say, but the new Euro 6 cars are certainly cleaner. They produce less particles and gases, but we are still very concerned that even those cars in real life conditions and after the first year of on the road, that they will start to lag and they'll produce more emissions than we say. As we've seen with the Volkswagen scandal, it's very difficult to control emissions from diesel. But we're focusing very much on the current diesel fleet, that toxic fleet, which is the bulk of the diesels. We need to get that off the road as quickly as possible.
Professor, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.